I just don't get it. Hentai tentacle rape. It, it makes no sense to me. Was regular rape really so vanilla that they had to have monsters made of tentacles topped in bulbous spell ends that were either pink, purple, or sometimes blue? My friend Roger suggested it to me, saying that it would be hot or erotic. And I just think that he might have fetish for young Asian girls between the ages of 14 and 16. Anyway, that's not why you're here. You're here to hear about Chimmy. Chimmy was a lovely boy. Yes, he was a boy, and a lovely one at that. He used to run about the yard at the front of the old farmhouse. He would chase geese and ducks and other assorted fowl. It was mine country, you see. Like gold mines and silver mines and copper mines and sulfur mines and diamond mines and just generally country you'd see mines. And well, you know the old saying about ducks and mining. But one of Chimmy's favorite pastimes was aquatic maneuvering and fitness, also swimming. I would grab Chimmy's favorite bowl and I would toss it at the far end of the pond, off to the side of the yard in the farmhouse. And Chimmy, he would gallop after the bowl. He would dive into the water, sometimes still fully clothed. That's okay, because we never washed his clothes, so it sort of did the trick for us. At one point, we just took to filling the pond with soap. It just made things easier. And anyway, Chimmy would gallop after and dive into the pond and paddle after the bowl, his water wings going everywhere. It was a very, very interesting spectacle to see. And when he would get to the bowl floating in the pond, he would grab it in his mouth, which seemed odd at first, but you see it a couple dozen times, it all becomes just one big blur. You see one line of Coke, you've seen them all. And anyway, he would grab the bowl and he would bring it back to shore, where I usually stood or lounged in a chair, maybe a lounging chair. I had this one love seat that I was particularly fond of that I would bring to the edge of the pond. It's very light. It had wheels. I'm pretty sure it was made by Lazy Boy. And I would sit on the side facing the pond, and on the other side, I would have alcohol. Usually things like Boone's Farm, because we were on a farm, or gin, or sometimes bourbon, because, well, the South and bourbon, they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, the farm was in rural Indiana, so it was out of place even in its own environment, but it was also not in the South of the United States. It was in the south of that part of Indiana. But anyway, Chimmy made the loveliest of sounds, though, when he would jump into the water, because I used to do this thing, sometimes where you take the bowl and you bring your hand back and you go to act like you're going to throw it, and you drop the bowl behind you, you don't actually throw it, and I always got Chimmy with that. He would rush off, watching the pretend bowl sail over his head. I think, because he wasn't very smart, he assumed that there was a ball, it was just moving too fast for him to see, and then he would dive out back into the water, and unable to find the ball since it floats, he would paddle around in circles, continually just circling over and over, and it was unimaginably impressive, the amount of stamina that he showed, because I would have thought any normal being would have given up, after the first 14 to 15 minutes, but Chimmy kept going. And it seemed like the longer he went, the more he enjoyed it, because he made these wonderful sounds of glee. I'm just taken back thinking about them right now. How magical they were. They were very guttural. They really struck a chord down in you. They sounded, they were just so. Primal. But anyway, that's enough about Chimmy. Get out. Fuck off. There's more later.